tonight's webinar, please take advantage of this opportunity and use the chat or Q&A function at the bottom of the screen anytime to ask a question. So collectively, we'll do our best to answer. Otherwise, we can take notes. So to begin with, we will have a short presentation by Dr. Kushi, and then followed by an open panel discussion involving you as our audience. And I would like now pass it over to Dr. Kushi.
Thank you, Dennis, and welcome to Master of Data Science webinar. I'm Matlub Kushi. As Dennis said, I'm the program director for this Master of Data Science. So let's get started with introducing you to why should we learn at Sydney. So Sydney is the second most desirable destination in the world for international students. It's a highly sought after location. We have very nice Victorian style big buildings. We have a skyrise. It's a very nice weather in Sydney. It's a very nice place to learn and live and work. So we've got a very good large campus, very close to Central Business District. We got a close by Harbour Bridge, Opera House, and we are just a few minutes walk from the Redfern station. So it doesn't matter wherever you live in the whole Sydney, you can easily get to Sydney University main campus where we teaching Master of Data Science program, and it's a few minutes away from the Redfern station. So why you want to learn at the Sydney University? So one of the criteria most students would have that they want to be more employable, they want to increase their skills, and they want to have a better employability. So we are proud that Sydney University is ranked first in Australia and fifth in the world for graduate employability. And that's really good for our students. This means that by enrolling at our university, you're giving yourself a best chance to land on the best job in the world. So a bit about our engineering school, which is founded in 1920. We have close to 5,000 undergraduate students, a bit over 1,000 postgraduate students, 450 about PhD students, and we are very multicultural, and we have a large cohort of international students. Almost 35% of our students are from international, representing almost 135 countries across the globe. And we got a large cohort of staff, again, very multinational, multicultural, over 400. And we have taught a number of notable alumni, including John Bradfield, designer of the Sydney Harbour Bridge. So what that means is we are well funded, we are well resourced, and we have the best people to teach you. So on the right side, we have a School of Computer Science building, which is purpose-built teaching spaces. Lab spaces are available to you 24/7. It's a Wi-Fi enabled. In fact, all of Sydney University buildings are Wi-Fi enabled, and you get a VPN access. And we have a modern SciTech library, ongoing campus upgrade happening all the time. And on the left side of the screen, you have a picture of one of our award-winning learning studio, where we teach one of our unit principles of data science. As you can see, it's a very interactive environment where a lecturer get to teach for about 15 or 20 minutes, and then you get to practice. You have your own computers in front of you, and you will have a number of tutors sitting next to you, helping you with your learning. And if you get stuck, they will walk you through to what's being just taught. And then you get back to the lecture mode again, 15-20 minutes, and back and forth. So about 3 hours of this kind of learning. So it's a very interactive, very engaging learning that we have in most of our units. So how about our data science program at Sydney University? So it's for people who are passionate about drawing meaningful knowledge from the data to drive the business decision making or research output. So by doing this Master of Data Science, you'll develop your analytical and technical skills. And if you have one before, you can enhance that. So it provides you the ability to extract the valuable insight from the business you have a customer behaviors, it gives you the market intelligence, it provides you the decision-making capability. So data is very vital in today's organization environment. So everybody is want to have a bit of understanding of what sort of money they're going to make after this completing this degree. So Kaggle is a big data science company, and just a couple of years back, they ran a survey to find out how much data scientists are making. Their survey revealed that median salary in the US was 96,000, bit over 96,000 US dollar. And in fact, if many people are over that, and if you have a doctoral degree, you could be making more than 150,000. However, according to Glassdoor's last year's survey, the average salary of the data science in US is $120,000. So you're looking at the similar figures in Australian market as well. So we have a very data science is very high in demand. And you're looking at the career paths in medical informatics. You could go into finance, banking. You could be helping some engineering projects. And if you are in any other discipline, for example, you could be a mechanical engineer and electrical or mechatronics engineer. So data science skills will help you to improve your career path whatever you're doing before. So this afternoon, I just ran a query in the Seek website. Seek is one of the major employment portal in Australia. And I just queried this afternoon, put in data scientist, and it showed me over 500 jobs which are active at the moment. So this is just one portal in Australia. So that shows how much data scientists are in demand. So just to get the ball rolling, just to give you an idea about what the data scientist can do. Data science is everywhere. Basically, you're carrying the phone, you're wearing electronic devices, you have electric like watches. Everything is nowadays data science driven. So just a couple of examples here. A couple of years back, UPS company, which is a courier company, they done some data analysis work, and what they discovered, if they just avoid the left turn, because in the US, as you know, is left turn drive cars. So if you just avoid the left turn, then they could save 1 mile per day, and they ended up saving $15 million in the fuel cost and the maintenance cost. So just that small example shows that how much data science can contribute to the company's growth. So it doesn't hurt just paying a couple of $100,000 to a data science and providing a better decision-making capability to an organization. So another example where the data science heavily get used nowadays, pretty much every bridge or construction building have built-in sensors in there. You get the data automatically from them, and then you get a classification on when do you need building maintenance and when is the time to have the major construction work done on the bridge or any sort of this monumental kind of structures. So by engaging this sort of data science in such a places, companies could save millions of dollars in terms of unwanted maintenance. Another example where Chicago police employed data scientists to reduce the crime rate. On the right side of the screen, as you can see, there was a big drop in the crime rate after they have implemented this strategy. So they just collected the social network from arrest records, geographic and temporary data, and employed quite a few data scientists to do a predictive model on who's the next person who's going to commit a crime, or what are the area where the next crime going to happen. So they just happen to give preemptive warnings to the people, and by doing that, they could reduce the crime rate on a significant rate. So let's get to how can you enroll at Sydney University. So you have 2 pathways getting into our Master of Data Science program. If you have a 4 years bachelor degree in a quantitative discipline, then you can be straight away accepted into the Master of Data Science, which is a 1-year full-time program. But if you just have a bachelor degree, it could be a 3 years degree, or it could be a 4-year degree, but not in the quantitative discipline, or not considered Australian honors equivalent degree, then you can do the graduate certificate in data science, which is just a 6-month program comprising of 4 units. And then if you attain 65% marks in this GCDS, then you can be accepted in the Master of Data Science. Okay, so a little bit more on entry requirement. Again, as I said, you need 4 years Australian bachelor degree equivalent with honors. I've got with honors highlighted. The reason is that I know quite a few countries have got 4 years program, but for some reason, and we don't get into those details here, they're not considered equivalent to Australian honors degree. So, but some of the countries, some of their 4 years program are considered equal to our honors program. So you need to have 65% credit average minimum to get accepted, or you could have a master degree with a research component, minimum 65 again, or you can complete our GCDS graduate certificate in data science program, attain 65% marks, and could be accepted straight into our Master of Data Science program. So, so the pathway could look something like that. You accepted in, let's suppose, in the graduate certificate in data science program, which is a 6-month program, then you get to do these 4 units. Let's say you started in the semester 1. By the way, you can start either in semester 1 or even in semester 2. So you get to do data management, algorithms, introduction to statistics, and principles of data science. This principles of data science units is common in Master of Data Science. Then you get to do another elective. You get a waiver for the principles of data science in the semester 2 of your Master of Data Science. And then you again do another 4 core units, and then 2 elective units, and then a capstone project of 12 credit points at the end. So that kind of comes down to a 1.5 year equivalent to full-time program, which is still much better program than many of the other universities who are offering similar programs over the period of 2 years. So here's an example of a part-time equivalent. If you are a local student, you have an option of doing the our data science program as a part-time. Then you can get started in the semester 1. You can take just a 1 unit or 2 unit. In semester 2, you complete another 2 unit, and then semester 3, let's say you complete another 2 units, and then at the end you can do capstone project. So then, as a part-time, you can complete in 2 years or even longer than that. You can even complete in 3 or 4 years. Another example: many of the students opt to extend their capstone projects over the period of 2 semesters, and that's allowed. So that means you get more time to complete your capstone projects, and then you can have an elective one in 1 semester and another elective in another semester. But that option is only available to the local students, or if you have Australian permanent residency. An example, again, few more units. On the right side of the screen, you have a number of other elective units. For example, advanced data modeling, cloud computing, multimedia retrieval, so natural language processing. So you get to choose a number of elective in the area that you want to work in. So the core is for everyone, like everybody get to do the core units, but for the elective, you have a number of options. So we have, as I was saying, we have a flexible delivery. You could do part-time, or local student can do part-time or full-time, just a 1-year program. Many other universities are offering similar programs over the period of 2 years. We condensed that to 1-year program. And we have a flexible curriculum. As I showed you in the previous screen, you get to choose a range of subjects in the area that interest to you or apply to you most. And then for most of our postgrad units are offered in the evening, 6 to 9. So if you are working full-time, you can easily attend our master classes. Most of them are scheduled between 6 to 9. We have weekly classes offered full-time, part-time. We have industry experts also teaching some of the classes. And then you have an access to all of our labs 24/7. And all of our lectures get recorded. So if you happen to miss a lecture, you can just watch the recording and then catch up with the work. So capstone project is very important for our data science program. Most of our capstone projects are industry driven in collaboration with some sort of companies. So you get to learn about the project management, creation, report writing skills, technical analytics skills, and presentation skills, and you get to write a report at the end. So as we have a third tonight with us who's doing the capstone projects, I'll get him to talk at the end about more of his experience with the capstone project. And as I was saying, many of our capstone projects come from the industry. So we have our collaborator like Microsoft, Google, Facebook, and many other big CSL, IBM big companies. So we have a collaboration with them. And I probably before question and answer, I think I'd probably like to invite Philip to share his experience with the capstone project.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Philip Mergert. I'm currently in my second and last semester. I'm working, as Dr. Kouchi mentioned, on the capstone project, and this capstone project is actually a medical data science project. Just for your information, there were a total of roughly 50 projects to choose from in many different areas, and I just chose one that was very interesting to me, so it's subjective. And in this project we have already had the opportunity to take images of our eyes with a specialized microscope, and we are taking these images and then we are using data science methods that we have learned over the last year to hopefully predict and also prevent certain diseases that can occur with the eyes. And as it turns out, we are at the moment about halfway in. There are a lot of data science challenges that we have to solve, and we're actually working in a team of 4, and we have now split up the project into 2 different approaches, just that we can test which approach produces the better results. But you can see there for this kind of project, there are a lot of things that you can apply, and also from the side of the university, there's quite some flexibility. So you're not nailed down to take one certain path. You can try and test, and I really appreciate that I got the opportunity to test some techniques, and I learned so far quite a lot. Yeah, that would be my experience. Maybe I can also talk a bit about the team. So we are in a team of 4, and we so far have quite good cooperation. I have already had some previous group assignments in the last semester, and for those I would say this maybe I was fortunate, but these were all excellent, and I'm still in touch with basically all of my group mates over the last semesters. So this is also a really good opportunity to get in touch with people, with local Australians and other international students. And to me, that was a very good experience overall.
It's also now you get to make those connections from group assignment. Can I ask what background are your group mates from? Are they all from the same industry or quite different from yours?
So for this particular assignment, we for the capstone project, we are coincidentally all from data science. Although because the capstone projects are kind of cool, I'm not sure from how many different other courses, but I know, for example, computer science, you can also have team members from computer science, and I'm not sure how many other units, but it's not exclusively data science.
Cool, thank you so much, both. So now we can open up the panel. And now it's the opportunity for our audience to ask questions. So let's just follow up on the student experience. So Philip, could you tell us a bit more about your experience of studying this program at university? For example, apparently enjoyed the capstone project. Is there any particular unit study that you enjoyed or you found useful or meaningful in your degree?
Well, obviously, principles of data science, which was taught by Dr. Kushi. That's also why I came to him to ask if I could do this capstone project, because of appreciate his teaching style. And overall, I would not have a clear favorite. I must say, all of the courses, I enjoyed all of them. And yeah.
Do you see some relevance with the industry? Like long ago, you know, when I was like 25 years ago, when I got graduated in my engineering degree. And when I went to the industry, I discovered that some of the things being taught during my degree was not really directly related to the industry. Do you have that kind of feeling with your master program?
Actually, a lot for me was a bit the other way around, because I have already some experience in this industry, especially in R&D. I already worked there for a couple of years, and I saw, coming from a role where I had a bit of overview of what is happening, I saw that data science methods and tools become extremely important quite quickly. And because of that, I also made the decision that I wanted to update my knowledge with tools and methods that I can then apply. And I can maybe add, I really know from the industry what kind of technologies are used. And this, to me, correlates really 100%. So there were actually some tools that some of my colleagues were working with all the time. And to me, it was not so satisfying that I didn't 100% understand how they work. And now these tools came up, and it was a really good opportunity to get up to the latest standard.
That's awesome. First, you mentioned that you get in contact with Dr. Kushi before you made the decision to start this degree. So what made you choose Sydney University's Master of Data Science at the first place?
Yes, that's a good question, actually, because I come from kind of far away. So what I looked at a lot of different parameters, because I had already quite a good job, and it was also a big decision that I kind of lower my workload to do something else. So as I explained, I thought that especially in my kind of career, data science is becoming very important very quickly. And so I made a decision to do data science, and then I looked internationally what kind of projects there are, courses there are. And then I found different universities that offer this course, and then I kind of made a point. It's not so strictly, but I looked at what the university's reputation is, what the course contents are, what the location is, what the course duration is. And then last but not least, I also looked at if my company has a local office. So there were a lot of factors, and I can positively say it was a really good decision.
Thanks so much. Awesome. So now we're going to take some questions from the audience. This one, I was just following on that. Student asked, what's the advantage of doing a Master of Data Science at a university like Sydney Uni over doing some online courses? So apparently they don't have the access to the research support, and they may not work on the real world industry projects. Is there anything else you want to add on to that?
To this question, I personally would say that all the courses are taught face-to-face. So to me personally, that's quite a big advantage, because it's not quite the same. And also for all the courses, there are tutorials, and the groups are not particularly big. So in these tutorials, quite some of them were extremely good. So the tutor was really trying to be very interactive, and if he sensed that students were not 100% on board, he really interacted with the students and really tried to teach them to get to that level.
Can I add to just dance, like, when you go to an employer and you tell them, okay, I've done some online courses. So, and I've been in this situation before. I've been on many interview panels where candidates have claimed that they know the Python, they know this, they've done that. I've been in this part of this kind of project. And then you see their very strong CV, you invite them on the interview. And then when you are dig deep into the question, you find out that they are just a part of the team. They might be writing an email or doing the office work on that project. So who knows, with the online degrees or with its online, there's no credibility, So you cannot prove that you really have learned it. So now, initially, very long ago, like I'm talking about 20 years ago, when the online thing just started, at that time, people had a little bit of faith on these online degrees, but then that faded out very quickly, because then all the people were coming with all these online degrees, claiming that they have high credentials and high marks. But when you put them into the test or some sort of job or some sort of project, they fail miserably. So now employers are no more trusting on these online degrees or online certificates. So they're looking for credible certificates or degrees such as SUNY University.
That's a very good point, because employer reputation is probably very important. And also we mentioned that the ranking of employability and employer reputation is actually a big part of that.
Maybe I can add to that. From my industrial experience, I can honestly say I was a bit involved in hiring people. And I can honestly say that if someone had an online degree, that definitely wasn't a benefit. It was definitely something we would have thought maybe something doubtful, where we're not sure could be a good person, but overall we would say it's a disadvantage.
Yeah, nowadays even these people not getting shortlisted for the jobs, because you have so many other people to choose from. So why would you choose the people who have the online degrees?
And I have another question for the students asking about the capstone project. So for those projects of placement, how are they being coordinated at the university? Like, is the university given a list to the students, or the students have the flexibility to look for them themselves? How that's been organized in the program?
So I think it's a bit of both. Mostly there's a list that consists of, for this semester, roughly 50 projects that are either group projects or individual projects where you work by yourself. And for example, the project I'm working on was not officially on the list. I found out because I talked to Dr. Kushi, and he mentioned that there is something very interesting. And I think also from what I know from some of my friends that there are more projects like this. So I'm quite confident if you would have a good idea and get in touch with one of the lecturers, that there might be a possibility to do something.
Thank you so much. And the student asked a question about entry requirements. So if he or she doesn't have a strong statistics background, what kind of pathway could we offer to get them to enroll in this degree? So as we mentioned, that depends on if they have an Australian honors equivalent in the quantitative background. We'll assess the application and also their grades, apparently, to give them their Master of Data Science or graduate certificate in data science. And if they still don't meet the criteria for graduate certificate in data science, we will recommend them apply for the graduate diploma in computing to meet some of the criteria. So just send us application, and our colleagues in the mission will assess that. And a very important point to remember that if you have work experience in the related areas like in IT or the quantitative discipline, please include that in your application, because that will help with your assessment.
Thanks, Dennis. I think you addressed it very well.
Thank you. And we have a question about the class profile, because you mentioned that you have classmates from different cultural backgrounds or industry backgrounds. So overall, how would you describe your classmates, the class profile? Dr. Kushi might want to add.
Yeah, it's very multicultural. Usually we have a mix of people from all over the world. And then, yeah, it's a very multicultural environment. Do you want to add anything to it?
No, I maybe would add that there are quite a few classmates, and so it is really up to you. I think I personally have found friends and quite a couple in each course, and it is up to you. It's very easy to meet good people.
Thanks so much. I have a very good question here. So talking about the oversaturation of data scientists. So this student says that, how many are interested in taking Master of Data Science, and looking forward in the future, will there be many data scientists that in the field will be just oversaturated, and how in demand is it now, and how it will be in the next few years?
I think that's my personal belief. At least for the next few years, the demand gonna go higher and higher, because the data is now getting exponentially, recorded or getting stored. Just look at a few years back. I remember it was late, I think 1999 or something. At that time, I bought a hard drive of 1 gigabyte. And I was really very happy, and I was kind of thinking that this is going to last me for my whole of life. 1 gigabyte was really, really big. Yeah, like we're talking about era when we had those floppy disks, 1.44 megabyte was enough. Like a couple of disks were enough for Microsoft Word or similar programs. So I now look at, not even our phone is having 256 gigabytes. So data is getting generated on a very, very high rate. It's increasing exponentially. So who's going to get insight from this data? Data scientists. So now even very small companies are considering hiring the data scientists, because they can see the benefit. How could they can add more sales, they can do better decisions. So at least for the next 10 years, we'll see an increase in demand.
Philip, would you like to add on?
That is also my feeling. And I think the tools are quite universal that you learn. So you're not completely restricted to doing only data science. To me, I think one of the main benefits of the course was that I learned so many methods and tools that I can apply in different areas.
Okay, good. It's like data science is becoming the foundation of other industry applications, and also, for example, the use of the IoT technologies. That the data we're gathering now is just, as you mentioned, growing exponentially. So that creates a lot of opportunities for data scientists in the coming years. So the demand will only go up. Okay, let's see another question. So what would a major advantage of taking the Master of Data Science in Sydney over some courses in the States? So I think we kind of answered that question. So with respect to deep learning and machine learning, how are GPUs shared among students? Are these typical GPUs, or is it cloud-based?
Yeah, well, at Sydney University, for bigger projects, we have large computing facilities comprising of, previously we had 2,500 CPUs. I think now it has gone up to 4,500 CPUs, and a large number of GPUs as well. So basically, the Sydney University look at the usage. If more people using it, they just keep adding the CPUs. So we never have a problem with the computing facilities here at Sydney University.
Thank you, Dr. Kushi. So one question about the application in the banking and the financial service industry. Do we have some kind of examples or case studies of how our students or graduates thrive in this industry?
So yeah, at the moment, I think I've got 45 students who are studying different kind of banking-related applications, including looking at predicting the stock price based on fundamental indicators, predicting stock price based on some technical analysis, and then quite a few projects going on predicting the performance of the companies based on this different kind of sentimental analysis of the company or their revenue or sales. Quite a few projects going on in the forex space. They are looking at predicting the price movement based on fundamentals or technical analysis. So quite a few happening in this space. Data science program.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing. So we also have a question about. So it's very specific. We do get quite a lot. Like, what type of programming languages are being taught in the studies in this program?
So we teaching Python and R mainly. So these are the two main programming language that's been used in the data science space nowadays.
Just for your information, even if I look at data science jobs in Europe, I see always these requirements. Python and R is like 90% plus of the jobs.
Yeah, it's a kind of must nowadays for
really must.
So we can't cover this one about course timing. I think some students might join us later. So we mentioned that we do have evening classes for those who are also working full-time during the daytime. And just like a quick glance in your classroom, how many students you think there are also working while taking this degree?
That is a very good question. Actually, a lot of my friends, I think the majority of my friends, but a lot of them are not studying full-time. So to give you a number,
I would say roughly 60%. 60% are our 60% of the students roughly are full-time working students who are doing data science on a part-time basis.
So I can actually manage a professional career and also study that at the same time.
Absolutely, yes.
And
I got an example. Like we got a student who was a petroleum engineer, and after completing one semester, now he switched the job to the data analytics. So he was doing a bit of in his previous role data analytics as well, but basically his main role was petroleum engineer. So he's still doing the capstone and other years with us, but he managed to switch to a new career.
I see. Yes, definitely could be a pathway for a career change.
Yes.
So student asking about research assistant or working opportunities while they're studying. Apparently you mentioned that they can work in full-time while studying this. Are there research assistant opportunities available in this program?
We don't have such official opening for our these students, but because you have these kind of data analyst kind of skills which are highly sought after in these kind of positions. If the position come up, then you can apply like anybody else. But we don't kind of guarantee that for our students, unfortunately.
It also depends on the student passion. Like some of them may be more towards the professional career instead of a research career.
Yes.
But since we're talking about research career, we'll have a question here about the opportunities for further study. So if students want to do, say, a PhD in data science after that, so how would this program prepare the students for that, and what kind of study or action students should take while they're studying this degree? Right.
So I'm going to be a little bit. I like to maybe address this question a little bit in a wider way. So quite a few students want to do PhD based on, and when they talk about PhD, usually they have the notion of getting a scholarship from the university. Either they are local or international. So I'll be very honest here that by completing a data science, our degree, Master of Data Science, it doesn't put you in a good position to compete in the scholarship applications. If you want to be very competitive in our scholarship applications, then you should be looking at doing the MPhil program in data science, basically. The Master of Data Science is a 1 year. It's a very fast-paced program for you to get prepared in this kind of quantitative analysis. It teaches you machine learning, deep learning, and these kind of similar skills. But it doesn't really teach you research methods, doesn't prepare you as a researcher. So because of that lackness in this program, you don't consider it as a competitive for the scholarship. But if you are not after scholarship, you want to start a PhD straight after this, no problem at all. You'll get accepted. Most supervisors will accept you for their projects, and you can get started with them, but without scholarship.
Thank you so much. So going back to the professional career pathway, we have questions about the job opportunities and our industry connections, and specifically about Google. So are there any examples of how we engage our industry partners in this program?
So, for example, I had a optometry a partner collaborator where he was looking at the eye nerves changes in the eye nerve that could be reflected towards a disease, and I happened to get in contact with Philip, and he's doing that project for the capstone nowadays. And then I've got another industry partner from the finance sector. So they wanted some students to analyze this stock data that they had, and so basically then I got students connected to this industry partner. So by doing their projects now, basically these students put themselves in a very good position about regarding the employability. So now if they have a position open, so obviously they'll consider these students first before anybody else, because these students are already working on their data, their problem, and that put them in a very good position. And then we have a Deloitte partner. They take a lot of students. Basically now we are very soon be signing an MOU with them, so they will be taking our students for their graduate entry program. Quite a few already doing that, but now we're looking into some sort of special permanent basis engagement with them.
That's great news. So similarly, student asking about what would the career guidance be provided in this program. So Philip, would you like to add anything about that? Like while studying, are there any career advice or service available?
Yes, I would say so. I particularly didn't really focus on that so much because for me it's not so relevant. Yeah. But I can give some examples. It was repeatedly mentioned, especially in the lectures and in the tutorials, that this is a particular important skill for the industry. And also, I remember some tutorials where actually a tutor said, remember this carefully if you are doing a job interview. This is actually what they will ask. So please mind these methods. So it was really pragmatic in terms of preparing you for interviews and yeah.
And to add on to that, I know that in the faculty and also at the university level, the career centers, the industry engagement team, they're also providing the employment skills workshops. We have career fairs for engineering and IT specifically, or for certain industry like consulting and investment banking, or for startups. So we provide an opportunity throughout the year, and that will help our students and graduates build out their employment skills.
There actually are quite a lot of these events. For example, if you want to improve your LinkedIn profile or so, you have for everything something.
So covered in the presentation, what kind of facilities do we provide for the Master of Data Science students? That's labs. So this is a big question. So for Dr. Kouchi, how would you compare the emerging technological change in the US versus in Australia? So like what are the general industry trends and Philippines?
Like in the computer science, I think we are pretty much on the same page. Like whatever happens here, it gets spread all over the world. Whatever happened there, they also get spread. We have similar sort of conferences that we take part. I don't see there's much difference in terms of the technology advancement. But because US has a big population, they have a big budget, so usually you get to see that usually big projects come out from there, and even sometimes some Australian companies also ended up going to US and launching their products from there because it's a bigger market, bigger population, bigger kind of budget. Other than that, in terms of technological advancement, I don't see much difference there. It's pretty much the same.
I see. Thank you so much. So question from students about, like, are students in this program get to travel as part of the degree? Like, are there any like interdisciplinary or overseas travel projects that they can participate in?
Because it's a very small program, we have that in other degree program, but not in this in Master of Data Science program, because it's just a 1-year program. So we don't have a real collaboration with other universities where we send the students to overseas, they come back. For larger degree programs, like for our undergrads, where we have a 4-year or double degree, 5-year programs, we do have these arrangements, but not for the Master of Data Science.
Thank you. And then we have a question about student pass rate. What's the average student pass rate of the program?
Most students end up passing the course. Say, like roughly 95%, or even more than that.
That's very good. Question about pay scale. So we mentioned that the entry level in Australia is about 96K Australian dollars, and then the median number, in the States was about 120K from memory from the presentation. And the question is that is there a way to earn more in Australia when compared to the US?
If you like increase your skills, you become a team leader, then obviously you get paid more. If you just do that search, you can see you can even search based on the minimum salary, and you can see that if you want to earn more, that they're looking for a bit more experience, a bit more leadership. So after, I think, working in this space for a few years, you can easily pay more.
I fully agree. I would add to that even if you are going in a management direction, especially if in the fields of IT also, in my personal view, you still have to know what is going on. You cannot just manage people. You still have to have some technical knowledge. And if you want to go that path, it's probably the one that pays the best. But even then, you need the technical skills, at least on a medium level.
Thank you so much. There's a question about specifics of lectures and tutorials or seminars. So what are the structure, what types of delivery, like what is typical lecture or tutorial like?
All of our lectures get recorded. So if you don't attend the lecture, there's no attendance requirement. You can just watch them on your own time. But our tutorials are not getting recorded. So tutorials meant to be hands-on, face-to-face, sitting next to the tutor, doing it. And it's basically all about helping you. So how could somebody help you if you're not there? So tutorial meant to be, you have some problem, you sit together with the tutor, and they kind of give you a hand in your learning. So, but all the lectures are recorded, you can watch them. There's no attendance requirement for that.
So, thank you so much. Another question about actually student life. So outside classrooms, Philip, have you participated in any kind of student activities, or how do you make friends?
Yeah, I actually already had a few friends here in Sydney before I moved here. That was beneficial. Actually, as I mentioned, I just had like a birthday invitation for one of my Australian friends here that I met in this course coming up. So it is really easy to find good friends. I like the atmosphere. It's very positive.
I know that the student societies from the School of Computer Science, SINCS, they also organize a monthly barbecue, and they invite the industry sponsors and students, meet with each other, have a good time, and maybe find a good career opportunity as well. So this question also about student profile, student cohort, like, because we know students with various levels of work experience might come into the program. So they're wondering what it's like. Are they more students who just done a bachelor with honors degree, or they have a few years of experience? What's the typical profile?
We have a range of students, like some are fresh, some do have an experience. some do have a large experience, and then some changing their career path to do something different. That's why they come to this program. So we have a range of
Truly diverse.
diverse range.
So just talk to your audience. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask using the Q&A function. So we're gonna wrap up the discussion in a few minutes. So please utilize this opportunity.
So did you do that part-time, or you did that on a full-time basis?
I did it on a full-time basis, which I believe also as an international student you have to, but if you get the international student visa, you're still allowed to work 20 hours a week during the semester and 40 hours, I believe, I don't want to say anything that is incorrect, but I believe 40 hours during the semester break. And during the first semester, because I just changed from my previous job, there was still quite some work to cover. But I personally would say if you are studying full-time, you should not try to also work full-time. That will not work out. So I think it's possible to work a bit on the side, but I would, if you can somehow manage, I would propose that you exclusively work during the semester holidays.
How many hours do you roughly be looking at per unit or something? As a,
So
do you have any idea or guidelines for people to understand?
So if you want to study full time, how much hours you can work during the week?
What I mean, how many hours one should be dedicating or committed for 1 unit of study, one subject?
There's always the recommendation. I think that is pretty much spot on. So for the capstone project, the recommendation is 18 hours a week, and but this really means focus work. So it doesn't include your
breaks.
Yes, it does not. So if you can, on a professional level, if you can work focused for 18 hours, then it is accurate.
Right.
But if you want maybe to exceed a bit, it's definitely beneficial to invest more.
So can we say like the recommendation from the lecturers are usually the true reflection of the committed number of hours for a unit?
Yes, I would agree, but I think probably the biggest variation is, yes, definitely, but I think the personal motivation and experience and sometimes also plays a role.
So much. So I think we'll just need to wrap up here. Actually, let's take one last question. So the student asked, well, will we give priority to UC students when compared to other candidates? Definitely not. So we assess all the applications equally. And if the student is an international student, can they finish the course in 1.5 years? So as mentioned, they have to study full-time if you're international. But if you enroll in the graduate certificate, that's half a year. And then you move to Master of Applied Science, that's one whole year. So that will be 1.5 years in total. All right, we have to wrap it here. And thank you so much, Dr. Koushi and Philip, for sharing your experience and the insights. So apologies if we don't have the time to answer all the questions. I will share these slides and the recordings with everyone who registered. And feel free to follow up with us if you have any further questions. So have a lovely evening and good night. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.